Confidence is a really important topic in sports psychology. Obviously it affects performance and can really greatly help performance. The main form of confidence that we need to know about is called self-efficacy. So really we'll discuss self-efficacy from now on instead of self-confidence. When we look at confidence, why is it important? Well, lots of research has shown that confidence is the most important factor that separates the successful from the non-successful performers. So from a mental point of view, confidence is the holy grail, if you like. The study at the bottom here, a guy called David Hemery, who was an Olympic athlete himself, studied his PhD on high performance and found that through interviewing 63 really high achievers from different sports all around the world, that 90% of those had high levels of confidence. So we're saying that confidence is really important, but why? What does it do? What does it allow? So this is an obvious question really, and one that the exam board might ask you. So first of all, it increases your positive attitude. So what we're doing here really is giving some links across the sports psychology syllabus, looking at some of the different other topics that we cover and thinking about, well, confidence actually impacts on them. So first of all, your attitude. It will help you get into that optimal level of arousal and reduce anxiety. You won't have any worries if you are confident. Can increase your motivation. If you're more confident, you'll be more motivated to want to try and persist and all that kind of stuff. So therefore it also has an impact on your need to achieve and reduces that fear of failure, need to avoid failure. So we've said that we'll mainly look at self-efficacy, which we will, but just as a starting point, we need to know a definition of what confidence is. So two parts to this really. The first part being the belief. Alright, so it's the belief that you have, and then it's to be able to successfully cope with the demands. So the belief and then coping with the demands are the two main parts of a definition of confidence. This would still come into a definition of self-efficacy, so you can still see that we've got the belief here and being able to cope with the demands. Alright, so that still needs to go in because self-efficacy is a form of confidence, so therefore it still encompasses that part of confidence. The difference is that self-efficacy suggests that your confidence changes in particular situations or when performing different tasks. So the key words are that it's situation specific. So basically self-efficacy theory suggests that our confidence changes, so if we take a competition or a match for example, our confidence will change constantly throughout that match as we come across different situations, performing different skills, in performing those different skills within different situations against certain opponents, depending on the state of the game, etc, etc. And I'm sure we can all think of examples of this. I'm sure we can all think of skills, for example, that we are more confident at and skills that we're less confident at, but also within those skills that, depending on what's happening and how we're performing them and under what situation we are performing those skills, that we would again be either more or less confident. So self-efficacy theory, I think, is a pretty good theory. It links to the real world. Bandura suggests that there are four main sources of self-efficacy, and these are really important. Any question on self-efficacy is going to have these four things in the answer. All right, because they're so important. The first one is called performance accomplishments. It's sometimes called previous accomplishments. So what does that mean? Accomplishments, things that you've achieved. So this is looking at things that we've done. So this is the number one, and it's number one in rank order as well. So it's said that performance accomplishments has the most effect on your self-efficacy. Basically, what we're saying here is that if you've done it before, you're more confident of being able to do it again. So the success at a task is evidence to you that you know that you can cope with those demands, therefore I am able to do it once again. It's just worth bearing in mind that these four sources can all affect self-efficacy negatively as well. So if you failed at a task previously, then you'll be less confident of being able to perform it this time. The next one, and again in rank order, so the second biggest impact on your self-efficacy is called vicarious experience. We might know already that vicarious means through others. So this is second in the list because it is good at building confidence, but it's not as potent as performance accomplishments, because obviously it's not us who's achieved it, it's somebody else. So this links into our modelling stuff from social learning theory. We're looking at someone else who can do it and we're thinking, alright, okay, so they can do it, so therefore it can be done. The task is able to be done. So this is seeing other people, particularly role models, performing a task, and therefore I believe that I'm able to do it. So seeing someone perform a demonstration, for example, gives you confidence that you're able to do the same task. The third one is verbal persuasion, and it is really what it says on the tin. So the use of positive statements either from yourself, so think of some of the things that you say to yourself. You know, if you're being positive towards yourself, come on, I can do this, as opposed to being negative, which would dilute your confidence. And again, think of how you feel when other people, when your coach gives you praise, or when your coach actually tells you that that you're not very good, that you're not performing very well, etc., or your teammates, etc. So this isn't as doesn't have as much impact as the first two, but I think we can all again relate to this, the fact that what we say to ourselves in our own heads or what we hear from other people can have a real big impact on how confident we are. The last one is emotional arousal, and this is one that people sometimes get muddled up, because when we talk about arousal, we're not talking about the actual level of arousal as we've discussed in the other topic when we looked at arousal itself. So it's not the level, but it's the perception of it. So the important thing is, how do you perceive your level of arousal? Do you think it is good for you or not? So you might be pumped up, but some people might be thinking, well, that's good for me, I'm going to play well. So in other words, it's having a positive impact on self-efficacy. But some people might be pumped up and thinking, oh, I'm too excited here, I'm nervous, and etc., and this is not good for me. So it's how the performer perceives the level of arousal. Is it good for them or is it not? Am I up for it? Am I not? Or am I too up for it? Which again could be negative. So self-efficacy theory again gains lots of support in the sports psychology world because of these four sources. That I think we can all think of examples of the four sources impacting upon us in that real sporting world, and even better than that, they all apply to confidence enhancement techniques. So those four things can be used to improve your confidence, and obviously this is what we're after in sports psychology. And this would be another very common question about how do we improve self-efficacy. The first thing that you should do in an improving self-efficacy question is look at the four sources. So again, like I said before, how important these four sources are for you to remember, then this impacts on this question as well. So try and obviously name the four, but then explain a technique from each of the four as to how you could use it to improve a performer's self-efficacy. So if we take performance accomplishments to start with, then we can get people our performers to achieve performance accomplishments by allowing them to achieve success. So it may be that I need to give them an easier task. Maybe in training I need to give them something, a slightly easier task to perform, or it could be that I'm giving them a slightly easier opponent to play against, which allows them to win. But by achieving some success, the performer obviously gets that sense of, well, I've done it before, I'm able to do it again. Secondly, the vicarious experience one. So this is where we would get somebody else to show them how to succeed. So get them to watch a good player, get them to watch a really good player performing the skill that maybe they're struggling with, or again, just maybe it's playing against an opponent that they think they can't beat, and show someone who can beat them. And just similar to usual social learning stuff, this should be as similar as possible to the person who's watching. So the model should be as similar as possible to the observer. Verbal persuasion, so we might need to convince them that they can succeed. It might be that they're thinking they can't do it, that they think they're going to lose. It might just need some positive statements that they can do it. Come on, you know, you can do this if you really believe it. If you need to try, you need to trust yourself. You're a good player, etc., etc. So giving them some positive reinforcement. Lastly, emotional arousal. So again, the key word here is the interpret. We need to learn maybe how to both psych people up and calm people down as a coach, and that some people need psyching up and some people need calming down, and we maybe need to do a little bit of both, and also allow individuals to do their own little bit of preparation. But it's also about educating them and helping the performer interpret the arousal positively. So just an easy example would be that, you know, that nerves are good. You know, telling people that nerves are good for them. All right, you feel nervous? Yeah, you should feel nervous, because, you know, that's a big game, and without the nerves you wouldn't play as well. That kind of idea that we're helping to interpret our arousal levels in a positive nature, that's going to help us, so we feel more confident about it. We could also use some of the other techniques from other topics that can also help improve self-efficacy. So use the 4 sources to start with, but then there are some other ones, so that we can set goals. And obviously performance goals are more important here. Alright, if I can set a performance goal, this would actually link up to the performance accomplishments, as long as it's achievable. So if I set an achievable performance goal, focus on the task, then it might help me achieve that task and gain some performance accomplishments. I might also use some imagery. So again, it kind of linked in a little bit to what we've just said. The imagery should obviously be positive. I should see myself being able to perform it and performing successfully. So although that's not actual performance accomplishments, it's me trying to achieve performance accomplishments in my head. The positive self-talk obviously links into the verbal persuasion one. You know, can we teach the performer to use positive self-talk techniques themselves? And if we attribute success internally, again, I'm attributing that success into those performance accomplishments, that it was me that was able to do it.